The arrival of Xander. Xander's heart raced as he piloted his spacecraft through the vibrant atmosphere of Luminara. The planet was a kaleidoscope of colors, with swirling clouds of pink and lavender framing lush green landscapes below. This was humanity's first official contact with an extraterrestrial civilization, and he was determined to make it count. As he landed on a soft patch of grass that shimmered under the sunlight, he took a moment to gather his thoughts. Years of training had prepared him for this moment, yet nothing could truly prepare him for what lay ahead. He stepped out of his ship, adjusting his gear while taking in the alien environment. The air was thick with sweet fragrances that reminded him of Earth's wildflowers but carried an undertone he couldn't quite place. Just then, a group of figures emerged from behind a cluster of iridescent trees. They were unmistakably female, their skin a striking shade of teal that glimmered in the light. Their eyes sparkled with mischief as they approached Xander. "Well, well," said the tallest among them, her voice smooth like silk. "What have we here? A little pink creature from that dull rock called Earth?" Xander felt his face flush at her words. "I'm Xander from Earth," he stammered, trying to maintain composure despite their mocking laughter. "I come in peace and wish to learn about your world." The group erupted into giggles, their amusement palpable. "Did you hear that? He wants to learn," one exclaimed, her voice dripping with sarcasm. Xander took a deep breath, reminding himself that first contact was often fraught with misunderstandings. "I assure you," he said steadily, "Earth is not as primitive as you might think. We have much to offer in terms of knowledge and culture." The tall alien raised an eyebrow, her expression shifting from amusement to curiosity. "Oh really? Then show us what your advanced civilization has achieved." Grateful for the opportunity to demonstrate humanity's capabilities, Xander reached into his pack for a holographic projector. With a few taps, an image of Earth appeared before them, vivid landscapes filled with bustling cities and serene nature. "Here is my home," he began, pointing out various landmarks and ecosystems. "We have diverse climates and cultures that have thrived for centuries." The aliens exchanged glances but remained skeptical. "How quaint," another one remarked dismissively. "But can you do anything interesting?" Xander felt frustration bubbling beneath the surface. He wasn't there to entertain, he sought mutual understanding. "I'm not here for tricks or games," he replied firmly. "I want to foster cooperation between our species." The tallest alien stepped closer, her gaze piercing as she studied him intently. "You're quite bold for a creature so small," she said slowly. "But I wonder if you can back up your words with action." Xander's heart raced at her challenge. This was his chance to prove himself. "What do you suggest?" he asked cautiously. "Perhaps we can test your skills in our arena," she proposed with a sly smile, her companions nodding enthusiastically at the idea. Xander hesitated. An arena sounded daunting but also intriguing. "Very well," he agreed after a moment's thought. "Lead the way." As they walked toward the city, a stunning array of crystalline structures that seemed to pulse with energy, Xander couldn't shake the feeling that this encounter would be more complex than he had anticipated. Upon arrival at the arena, Xander was struck by its grandeur, an amphitheater surrounded by towering spires adorned with glowing flora. The air buzzed with excitement as spectators gathered for what promised to be an entertaining spectacle. "Welcome," boomed an announcer's voice as they entered the arena. "Today we have a special guest from Earth. Let's see if he can impress us." Xander squared his shoulders as he faced the crowd. Alien women who had once mocked him now watched with curious eyes. "Show us what you can do," one shouted from the audience. Feeling a mix of anxiety and determination, Xander decided to showcase some basic martial arts moves he had practiced back on Earth, an art form that emphasized discipline and control rather than brute strength. As he began his demonstration, Xander focused on fluid movements and precision strikes. To his surprise, some in the audience began cheering while others looked on in disbelief. When he finished his routine, there was an unexpected silence before applause erupted around him, a sound both foreign and exhilarating. "Well done," shouted Lyra, one of the aliens who had initially mocked him but now appeared genuinely impressed. Xander took a deep breath, relief washing over him as he realized this could be a turning point in their relationship. "Perhaps there is more to your kind than we thought," Lyra continued as she approached him after the performance. "Thank you," Xander replied sincerely. "I hope this is just the beginning of our understanding." As they exited the arena together, Xander felt hopeful for what lay ahead, even if it meant navigating through layers of skepticism and cultural differences. Little did he know that this encounter would change not only their perceptions but also their destinies forever. The cultural exchange. A new perspective. As Xander stepped into the heart of Luminara's city, he was struck by the breathtaking architecture surrounding him. The buildings shimmered like gemstones, their surfaces reflecting the vibrant colors of the alien sky. He felt a mix of awe and apprehension as he followed Era, the alien woman who had taken an unexpected interest in him. "Welcome to our city," Era said, her voice smooth and inviting. "Here, we preserve our knowledge and culture. I believe you will find it fascinating." Xander nodded, trying to suppress his nervousness. He had come to this alien world to foster understanding between their species, but he still felt like an outsider. The mocking laughter of the alien women from earlier echoed in his mind, but he was determined to change their perception. The heart of knowledge. As they entered a vast atrium filled with floating platforms and streams of light, Xander marveled at the sight. Alien beings moved gracefully about their business, seemingly unfazed by his presence. Era led him to a glowing pedestal at the center of the room. "This is where we store our collective wisdom," she explained, placing her hand on the pedestal. Instantly, holographic displays filled the air around them, showcasing intricate mathematical equations and scientific diagrams. Xander's eyes widened in amazement. "This is incredible. How do you organize all this information?" Era smiled, her expression shifting from condescension to genuine curiosity. "We have developed a unique method of storing knowledge that allows us to access it instantly. It's far beyond what your kind has achieved." Feeling a spark of excitement, Xander launched into a discussion about Earth's technological advancements. He spoke passionately about humanity's progress in various fields: medicine, engineering, and space exploration. To his surprise, Era listened intently, occasionally interjecting with thoughtful questions. Finding common ground. As their conversation deepened, Xander noticed a shift in Era's demeanor. The mocking tone that had characterized their initial encounter began to fade, replaced by a sense of mutual respect. He felt encouraged and decided to take a risk. "Perhaps we could exchange knowledge more formally," Xander suggested. "I could share some of our scientific discoveries if you would be willing to do the same." Era raised an eyebrow, intrigued by his proposal. "You wish to share your findings with us? Very well, I'm curious to see what your species has accomplished." With newfound enthusiasm, Xander retrieved his holographic projector once more. He displayed images of Earth's landscapes, majestic mountains, sprawling cities, and serene oceans, alongside data on climate change and renewable energy technologies. The alien women gathered around him, their expressions shifting from skepticism to genuine interest as they absorbed the information he presented. The challenge of understanding. However, not all were convinced by Xander's efforts. Nera, one of Era's companions with elaborate facial markings, crossed her arms and scoffed at the images on display. "These are mere pictures. What do they mean? Can your kind truly understand the complexities of our universe?" Xander felt a pang of frustration but reminded himself that this was part of the process. "Understanding comes from dialogue and exchange," he replied calmly. "We may have different perspectives on knowledge, but that doesn't mean we can't learn from each other." Era intervened before Nera could retort further. "Let him speak," she commanded gently but firmly. "There is value in what he offers." Xander seized the moment and continued sharing Earth's achievements in science and technology while also expressing his admiration for Luminara's advancements. A shift in dynamics. As they exchanged ideas and stories about their respective worlds, Xander began to feel a sense of camaraderie developing between him and Era. She was not just an alien mocking him, she was a being with her own experiences and aspirations. You know, Era said thoughtfully after a long pause, for someone from a primitive world, you possess an impressive understanding of complex concepts. Xander smiled at her compliment but remained cautious about how quickly things were changing. Thank you, I believe that every species has something valuable to offer. Nera rolled her eyes again but seemed less dismissive than before. Perhaps there is more to you than we initially thought. Xander took this as a small victory, even if it wasn't much, it was progress. An invitation. After several hours spent exchanging knowledge and ideas in the atrium, Era turned to Xander with a glint of mischief in her eyes. I think it's time for you to experience more of our culture firsthand. What do you mean? Xander asked curiously. I'd like to invite you to our festival tomorrow night, she replied with an enigmatic smile. It will be an excellent opportunity for you to see how we celebrate life here on Luminara. Xander felt a thrill run through him at the prospect. This could be a significant step toward building trust between their species. I would be honored to attend, he said earnestly. Era nodded approvingly before turning toward her companions. Let's prepare for tomorrow then, I want him to see everything we have to offer. As they left the atrium together, Xander felt a renewed sense of hope blossoming within him. Maybe this cultural exchange would lead not only to greater understanding but also friendship between humans and aliens. Reflections on progress. That night as Xander lay in his quarters aboard his spacecraft, he reflected on the day's events. He had faced ridicule but had also found common ground with Era and her companions, a balance between skepticism and curiosity that could pave the way for future cooperation. He thought about how far they had come since their first encounter. The laughter that had once stung now felt like distant echoes overshadowed by genuine interest in each other's worlds. Tomorrow would bring new challenges and opportunities for connection at the festival, a chance for Xander to showcase Earth's culture while learning more about Luminara's traditions. With that thought in mind, he drifted off into sleep filled with anticipation for what lay ahead. Building bridges. A new opportunity. The festival was set to begin at dusk, and Xander could feel the excitement buzzing in the air. He had spent the day preparing for this moment, gathering information about Earth's culture and traditions to share with the alien women. As he stood in front of his spacecraft, he reflected on how far he had come since that awkward first encounter. The mocking laughter had faded into the background, replaced by a sense of camaraderie and curiosity. Era arrived, her presence commanding yet inviting. Are you ready for tonight? She asked, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. Xander nodded, a mix of nervousness and eagerness coursing through him. I've prepared some stories and music from Earth that I think you'll enjoy. Excellent, Era replied, her smile brightening. Our festival is a celebration of life and knowledge. It will be an opportunity for you to showcase your world. The festival begins. As they made their way to the festival grounds, Xander marveled at the vibrant decorations adorning the city. Bioluminescent plants illuminated the streets, casting a soft glow that danced across the faces of the gathered crowd. The air was filled with laughter and music, an enchanting blend of alien melodies that resonated deeply within him. Welcome to our festival. Era announced as they arrived at a large open area filled with various stalls and performers. Tonight, we celebrate our culture and welcome you as our honored guest. Xander felt a swell of pride at her words. This was his chance to bridge the gap between their worlds. Sharing Earth's culture. As the festivities unfolded, Xander took center stage, his heart racing with anticipation. He began by sharing stories from Earth, tales of adventure, exploration, and human resilience. The crowd listened intently, their expressions shifting from skepticism to genuine interest. "Let me tell you about the great explorers of our past," Xander began, weaving a narrative about humanity's journey across oceans and continents. He spoke of pioneers who ventured into the unknown, driven by curiosity and a desire for discovery. As he shared these stories, Xander noticed Era nodding along, her eyes reflecting admiration. The other alien women seemed captivated as well, their laughter and applause encouraged him to continue. A musical exchange. After his storytelling session, Xander transitioned to music, a universal language that transcended barriers. He pulled out a small device from his pack that played melodies from Earth. As the familiar tunes filled the air, he could see the alien women swaying to the rhythm. "Now it's your turn," Xander said with a grin. "Show me what Luminera has to offer." Era stepped forward confidently, gesturing for her companions to join her. They began to perform an intricate dance that blended fluid movements with sharp gestures, an art form that told stories through motion. Xander watched in awe as they danced under the glowing lights of the festival. Their movements were mesmerizing, each step seemed to resonate with the very essence of their culture. Building connections. As the night progressed, Xander felt barriers dissolving between them. The alien women approached him with questions about Earth's music and traditions. They were eager to learn more about humanity's artistic expressions. "What do your songs convey?" one asked curiously. "They express our emotions, love, loss, joy," Xander replied thoughtfully. "Music is a way for us to connect with each other." Era leaned closer, her expression earnest. "We have similar sentiments in our songs, they reflect our experiences and dreams." Xander felt a sense of kinship forming as they exchanged ideas about art and expression. Each story shared and each note played brought them closer together. A moment of reflection. As midnight approached, Xander found himself sitting beside Era on a grassy knoll overlooking the festival grounds. The vibrant lights flickered like stars against the backdrop of Luminera's iridescent sky. "I never imagined this would happen," he confessed quietly. "When I first arrived here, I felt so out of place." Era turned to him, her violet eyes softening. "You have proven yourself more than capable of bridging our worlds," she said sincerely. "Your determination has sparked curiosity among my people." Xander smiled at her words, they meant more than he could express. "I believe we can learn so much from each other." A shared vision. With newfound confidence, Xander proposed an idea that had been brewing in his mind throughout the night. "What if we created an ongoing cultural exchange program? We could send representatives from Earth to Luminera and vice versa." Era's eyes widened with excitement at his suggestion. "That would be revolutionary. It could foster understanding between our species on a deeper level." They began brainstorming ideas for how this exchange could work, sharing knowledge about technology, art, science, and philosophy across their worlds. As they spoke animatedly under the stars, Xander realized that this was not just about proving humanity's worth, it was about creating lasting connections that could change both worlds for the better. An unexpected challenge. Just as their conversation reached a peak of enthusiasm, Nera approached them with an air of skepticism that cut through their excitement like ice. "Isn't this all rather naive?" she interjected sharply. "You think you can just waltz in here and convince us that your kind is worthy?" Xander felt his stomach drop but stood firm in his conviction. "I'm not asking for your approval, I'm offering an opportunity for collaboration." Nera crossed her arms defiantly but didn't dismiss him outright. "Opportunities are easy to promise but hard to deliver." Era stepped in before tensions escalated further. "Nera has valid concerns," she acknowledged calmly. "But we must also recognize how far we've come tonight. A path forward." Xander took a deep breath before addressing Nera directly. "I understand your skepticism," he said earnestly. "But I believe that by working together, we can achieve great things, things that benefit both our species." Nera studied him closely before finally relenting slightly. Perhaps there is merit in your proposal, but it will take time to convince others. Xander nodded appreciatively. Even small steps forward were significant in building trust. As dawn approached and the festival began winding down, Xander felt hopeful about what lay ahead, a journey marked by challenges but also filled with potential for growth and understanding between humans and aliens alike. Looking ahead. With new alliances forming and bridges being built between their cultures, Xander realized that this was just the beginning of something extraordinary, a partnership grounded in mutual respect and curiosity. As he bid farewell to Era and her companions at the end of the night, he couldn't shake off the feeling that together they were embarking on an adventure that would change not only their lives but also reshape their worlds forever. The turning point. A crisis unfolds. As the sun dipped below the horizon on Luminera, casting a warm glow over the festival grounds, Xander felt a sense of accomplishment. The cultural exchange had sparked interest and curiosity among the alien women, particularly Era. However, just as he began to relax, an unexpected commotion erupted from across the festival area. A loud crash echoed through the air, followed by a series of frantic shouts. Xander's heart raced as he turned to see a group of aliens rushing toward a nearby crystalline structure that had suddenly begun to tremble ominously. The ground beneath them vibrated, sending ripples of panic through the crowd. "What's happening?" Xander shouted over the chaos as he grabbed Era's arm. "It's the energy core," she exclaimed, her expression shifting from excitement to alarm. "It must be malfunctioning. We need to help." Racing against time. Without hesitation, Xander followed Era as she led him through the throngs of panicked aliens toward the source of the disturbance. As they approached the crystalline building, he could see that it was pulsating erratically, emitting bursts of light and energy that crackled in the air. "Stay back," a voice commanded as they neared the entrance. It was Nera, her face set in determination. "This is dangerous. But we can't just stand here," Xander protested. "What if it explodes? We need to stabilize it." Era nodded in agreement, her eyes fierce with resolve. "He's right. We can't let fear dictate our actions." Nera hesitated but then relented. "Fine. But we need to be careful. If we don't contain this energy surge, it could cause catastrophic damage." Understanding the technology. As they entered the building, Xander's scientific curiosity kicked in despite the urgency of the situation. The interior was a maze of glowing pathways and floating platforms, all centered around a massive energy core that throbbed with unstable energy. "What do we do?" Xander asked, scanning the chaotic scene for any signs of control panels or mechanisms. Era quickly assessed their surroundings. "We need to recalibrate the core's output levels," she said decisively. "If we can stabilize it, we might prevent a meltdown." Xander nodded, adrenaline surging through him as he focused on finding a solution. "Where are your control systems?" "Over there." Nera pointed to a series of holographic consoles flickering erratically at the far end of the atrium. Together, they rushed toward the consoles while Era began inputting commands into one of them. Xander joined her, his mind racing as he recalled principles from Earth's engineering practices. "Can you access any data on its current output?" he asked urgently. Era's fingers danced across the console as she pulled up readings that displayed fluctuating energy levels. "It's fluctuating wildly. We need to stabilize it before it reaches critical mass." Collaborating under pressure. Xander quickly formulated a plan based on what he knew about energy systems. "If we can redirect some of that excess energy into secondary conduits, we might be able to diffuse the pressure." Era looked at him with newfound respect. "That could work. Let's do it." With their combined efforts, they began rerouting energy flows using both Earth-based logic and Luminera's advanced technology. As they worked side by side, Xander felt a connection growing between them, one forged in urgency and collaboration. Almost there. Era shouted as she adjusted settings on her console. Nera stood guard nearby, her eyes darting between them and the core as sparks flew from its surface. Hurry. We don't have much time. A moment of doubt. Just when it seemed they were making progress, an unexpected surge of energy caused a violent tremor that knocked Xander off his feet. He landed hard on the floor as alarms blared around them. Xander! Era cried out, rushing to help him up. Are you okay? I'm fine, he replied quickly, shaking off disorientation. We need to keep going. But doubt crept into his mind. Was he truly capable of helping them? Would his efforts be enough to save this alien world? He glanced at Nera and saw her fierce determination reflected in her eyes. It fueled his resolve. We can do this. Xander shouted over the noise. We just need to focus. The final push. With renewed determination, they returned to their consoles and continued their work amidst flashing lights and crackling energy. Together they recalibrated settings until finally, there was a sudden stillness. The core pulsed steadily instead of erratically, its glow softened into a calm rhythm. We did it! Era exclaimed, relief washing over her face. Nera let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. For now, she cautioned, still wary but visibly impressed by their teamwork. Xander felt exhilaration course through him. This was not merely about proving humanity's worth, it was about forging bonds through shared challenges and triumphs. A shift in perception. As they stepped back from the consoles and surveyed their work, Xander noticed that other aliens had gathered around them, watching with expressions ranging from awe to curiosity. You saved us, one alien said quietly, admiration shining in her eyes. Xander looked at Era and Nera, their expressions were equally transformed by this experience. The mocking laughter that had once echoed around him felt like a distant memory now replaced with respect and understanding. Era stepped forward and addressed those gathered around them. This human has shown us that cooperation knows no boundaries, she declared passionately. Together we have faced danger and emerged stronger. Xander felt his heart swell at her words. This was what he had hoped for, a true partnership between their worlds. A new beginning. As dawn broke over Luminera, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Xander realized that this experience had changed everything. No longer were they two separate species, they were allies united by shared goals and experiences. Thank you for trusting me, Xander said sincerely to Era and Nera as they stood together outside the crystalline building. Era smiled warmly at him. You've proven yourself more than capable, I look forward to our continued collaboration. Nera nodded slowly but then added with a hint of teasing in her tone, just don't think you can get too comfortable, we still have much to learn from each other. Xander chuckled at her playful jab but felt grateful for this newfound camaraderie, a bond forged in adversity that would pave the way for future cooperation between humans and aliens alike. As they walked together into a new day filled with possibilities, Xander couldn't help but feel optimistic about what lay ahead, a journey marked by discovery and understanding that would transcend worlds. A new alliance. Embracing change. As dawn broke over Luminera, Xander felt a sense of accomplishment wash over him. The previous night's crisis had not only tested his resolve but had also forged unexpected alliances. The alien women, once skeptical and mocking, now regarded him with newfound respect. It was a pivotal moment that could reshape their relationship forever. Today marks a new beginning, Era said as they gathered in the atrium of the crystalline building. Her voice was steady, filled with determination. We have seen what cooperation can achieve. Let us build on this foundation. Xander nodded, feeling a surge of hope. I agree. We have so much to learn from each other. Perhaps we can formalize our partnership. Nera, who had been quiet since the previous night's events, stepped forward. What do you propose? She asked, her tone more open than before. A proposal for cooperation. Xander took a deep breath, ready to outline his vision for their collaboration. "I suggest we create a cultural exchange program," he began. "We can send representatives from Earth to Luminera and vice versa. This way, we can share knowledge about our technologies, arts, and sciences." Ira's eyes sparkled with interest. "That could work. We could learn about your advancements in technology while you gain insights into our understanding of the universe." Nera crossed her arms but appeared contemplative. "It won't be easy to convince others in my community," she warned. "Many still view humans as inferior." Xander met her gaze with unwavering confidence. "I understand that trust takes time. But if we demonstrate the benefits of this exchange through tangible results, I believe we can change minds." Building trust. The group spent the morning discussing the logistics of their proposed exchange program. Xander suggested starting small, perhaps by sending a team of scientists from Earth to collaborate on research projects with their Luminera counterparts. Era nodded enthusiastically. "We could focus on renewable energy. It's an area where both our species could benefit immensely." Nera raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the idea but still cautious. "And what would your scientists bring to the table? We have advanced energy systems that you likely cannot comprehend." Xander smiled at her challenge. "On Earth, we have made significant strides in sustainable technology and environmental conservation. I believe our approaches could complement each other." A demonstration of capabilities. To prove his point, Xander proposed a demonstration of Earth's renewable energy technology. He suggested they set up a small solar panel system that could power basic equipment for their research. Era agreed, her enthusiasm infectious. "Let's do it. We can gather some of our scientists and see how well your technology integrates with ours." As they prepared for the demonstration, Xander felt a renewed sense of purpose. This was not just about showcasing Earth's capabilities, it was about creating lasting bonds between their worlds. The demonstration day. A week later, Xander stood before a gathering of Luminera scientists and curious onlookers in the same atrium where they had first met. The atmosphere buzzed with anticipation as he unveiled the solar panel system he had brought from Earth. "Today, I will demonstrate how this technology works and how it can be adapted for use here on Luminera," Xander announced confidently. He explained the principles behind solar energy, how sunlight could be converted into electricity using photovoltaic cells, and outlined its applications in various fields such as agriculture and urban development. As he spoke, he noticed Era nodding along, her expression one of genuine interest. Nera stood nearby, arms crossed but watching intently. Bridging knowledge gaps. Xander activated the solar panel system, showcasing its efficiency as it began generating electricity from the sunlight streaming through the atrium's transparent ceiling. "This is just one example of how we harness natural resources sustainably," he explained as lights flickered on around them. The crowd murmured in appreciation, and Xander felt a swell of pride at their reaction. He continued to elaborate on Earth's advancements in energy storage and distribution systems while inviting questions from the audience. Nera finally spoke up after observing for some time. "Your technology is impressive," she admitted grudgingly. "But how do you ensure that it does not harm your environment?" Xander smiled at her question. It was an important one that reflected Luminera's values as well. "We are learning from our past mistakes," he replied earnestly. "Sustainability is now at the forefront of our innovations." A shift in perspective. As discussions continued throughout the day, Xander noticed a shift in attitudes among the Luminera scientists. They were engaging with him more openly and asking thoughtful questions about Earth's practices. By the end of the demonstration, even Nera seemed less skeptical than before. "Perhaps there is potential for collaboration after all," she conceded. Era clapped her hands together enthusiastically. "This is just the beginning. Imagine what we could achieve together if we combine our knowledge." Xander felt invigorated by their enthusiasm and began brainstorming ideas for future projects they could undertake together, researching new energy sources, exploring advanced agricultural techniques, and even sharing artistic expressions through music and dance. Strengthening bonds. As days turned into weeks, Xander found himself immersed in this new alliance between humans and Luminarians. They worked closely together on various projects that highlighted each species' strengths while fostering mutual respect. Era became his closest ally. They spent countless hours discussing everything from science to philosophy over shared meals that combined elements from both cultures. Nera remained cautious but increasingly collaborative. She often challenged Xander's ideas while also contributing her own insights based on Luminera's unique perspective. Facing challenges together. However, not all were convinced by this budding alliance. There were factions within Luminera that remained deeply skeptical about humans and their intentions. One evening during a meeting to discuss future collaborations, a group of dissenters stormed into the atrium where they were gathered. "Why are we wasting time with these creatures?" one shouted angrily, pointing at Xander. "They are nothing but primitive beings." Xander felt his heart race at the confrontation but stood firm alongside Era and Nera. "We are here to learn from each other," Era countered defiantly. "Our partnership has already yielded promising results." The dissenters remained unconvinced but were met with growing support from others who had witnessed firsthand the progress made through collaboration. A defining moment. As tensions rose within the room, Xander seized the opportunity to speak directly to those who doubted him. "I understand your concerns," he said calmly but firmly. "But I assure you that humanity has much to offer, not just technology but also compassion and understanding." He shared stories of Earth's struggles, its wars and conflicts, but also its triumphs in overcoming adversity through unity and cooperation. Slowly but surely, he began to see cracks in their skepticism as some listened intently while others exchanged glances filled with curiosity rather than hostility. A future together. In time, Xander's words began to resonate with those present. Even some dissenters softened their stances as they recognized that change was possible through collaboration rather than isolation. As discussions continued late into the night filled with hope for what lay ahead, a future marked by shared knowledge and understanding, Xander realized that this alliance was more than just an agreement. It was a testament to humanity's resilience and capacity for growth when faced with adversity. With newfound determination among both species solidifying their commitment toward progress together, the dawn of a new era was rising over Luminera, a partnership built on trust that would transcend worlds.